Stellar Life, mission log number 244.
So we need to meditate daily. And that's not just to connect with angels and deceased loved ones, but meditation is extremely important for all of us just to connect to source energy. That's just as important as eating and sleeping and drinking water. It's just like when you get gas for your car, you put gas in the car to drive later on. It's the same with meditation. You meditate so that you could connect later on in the day. And you're raising your vibration higher to their level so that you could be more on par with the energy of who they are, and you'll be able to hear them. Praying is talking to God, but meditating is listening.
Welcome to Stellar Life Podcast. Get inspired and live out loud. From love, freedom, and success to having it all. Here's your host, coach, speaker, and shining star, Orion.
Roger, you're looking good.
Hello and welcome to Stellar Life Podcast. This is your host, Orion. Today I have with me a psychic medium. She is going to teach you how to communicate with angels and let you know that each one of you can connect with angels or your deceased loved ones. And she's also shared with me some incredible stories from the beyond. When I got readings, I learned about some of my reincarnations and who I was in previous lives. And also something that happened today at my grandfather's tombstone. And that was definitely a direct connection with my grandfather and a message that I got because of a very, very important reason. I'm sure you're going to find this interview very, very interesting because Karen is a renowned psychic medium. She's a spiritual counselor and a healer with 2-year waiting list. She is the author of We Consciousness, Your Life After Their Death, Through the Eyes of Another, and The Rainbow Followed the Storm. She's also the founder of the Angel Quest Center in Waldwick, New Jersey, where she teaches classes, gives readings, and practices alternative healings. Karen is a very kind and warm person and really, really interesting. And I hope you will enjoy this interview tremendously. And now, without further ado, on to the show.
2, 1, 0.
Hey, Karen, and welcome to Stellar Life Podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. Before we begin, can you share a little bit about your passion and how did it come about?
Okay. Well, I am a psychic medium, and people ask me if I've always been psychic. The answer is yes, but not to the extent that I am now. When I was a child, my friends used to say that I freaked them out. I scared them because I would know things that would happen before they did. I would dream things before they happened and so forth. And I just thought everybody could do that. And in reality, hopefully we'll talk about that. We all can receive, and we all have intuition. We all can connect with deceased loved ones. We all can connect to the angels and so forth. But about 20-something years ago, I was going through a difficult time in my life. And I just sat at the edge of my bed and I yelled at God. And I asked if I was going to be okay. And with that, I saw a light that came towards me from the other side of the room. And as it was starting to come toward me, I said, if you're not of God, please leave. But the more I said that, the more it continued to come towards me and eventually enveloped me. And at that time, I heard an audible voice, and it said, Lucia, Lucina, Bella, Lucia, Lucina, which means light, beautiful little light in Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, after that experience, I found out that was St. Francis of Assisi, who's been guiding and protecting me ever since. And my intuitive abilities increased, and I started connecting with deceased loved ones and the angels and so forth. The rest is history.
Wow. Were you scared of your gift?
No, because when that light came, it was the most incredible peace that I have ever felt. There's no words to describe that feeling. A sense of love and peace, so pure. And there was nothing to be afraid of. In that instant, I felt the oneness of everyone and everything. It wasn't that somebody was separate from me. Our bodies look like they're separate from someone else, but in reality, we're all connected. And I felt that.
How does different religions work with mediumships and connecting to angels or saints?
Yes, that's a very good question. In reality, there's no religion. We're all one. We're spiritually all one. But yes, all religion point to that oneness. We point to when people come through, when I do readings and they are coming through during the reading, they all mention that there really is a God, and there's different paths to the same destination and so forth. So depending if someone is Jewish or Christian or Muslim or even atheist, it does not matter that we are all one.
Mm. And so, but you mentioned a saint that is a Christian saint, for example.
So that was Saint Francis of Assisi, who is the patron saint in the Christian religion of animals and peace. Mm-hmm. So when your husband connected with me today, we were supposed to, by the way, connect during an interview with him, but he was taking a cat what happened to the cat? Broke its pelvis?
Yeah, we get this, it's called network spinal analysis. It's type of an energetic Reiki type treatment. And every time we go there, he takes a can of food and he feeds the stray cats. And there's this one cat that he's always feed. And today, we assume it's a she, looked really, really odd. So he was guided to take care of it.
That's beautiful. See, that's right up my alley, because that's everything. I just love the animals because they truly are one with us too. Mm-hmm. It looks like they're separate from us, but after we leave the physical body, we'll feel that connection in an instant because the body will no longer be separating us from anyone or anything else. And that includes the animals. So I'm so glad he's helping that beautiful cat. Long story.
So you said, so the question about Saint Francis is, let's say I'm Jewish, but I'm like communicating with a Christian saint. For me, it will feel odd. Or if a Christian will communicate with Muhammad, for them it will feel odd. Or do they just appear to the people that will receive them?
Yes, correct. For the most part, our deceased loved ones, when they come through during an appointment, during a reading, they come through as a spiritual person with no particular religion. They all say there's different paths to the same destination. But yes, when we cross over, whoever we felt comfortable with, whatever particular religion we have, that being will greet us and help us to join with the one God of all there is.
Yeah. And from what I understand, and I don't understand much about medium about this world. I'm fascinated with it, but I'm not. I don't know much about it. Can we call upon evil spirits? Because this is we have duality in the universe, and there is good and bad, and also I bet in other realms there is good and bad. So how do we know that this is a true spirit, like you said, of God, and it's not a deceiving spirit?
Yes, that's a beautiful question. Well, no deceiving spirit or negativity is welcome. When you turn on the light, the darkness goes away. So it's an intention of vibrating at a higher level of only love, only peace, only oneness, only God is welcome. No one else, nothing else is welcome. So that never has happened to me in the many years, over the 20 years that I've been connecting. It's all messages of love and peace and unity.
Wow. My teacher Eliyahu is I studied Kabbalah with him, and he's also my coach. And we're moving from Israel to Florida next week.
Oh, okay.
He told me, go to your grandfather's grave and put a stone on and light a candle. And I have never been to my grandfather's grave. They died way before I was born. I've never been to the cemetery, never been to their grave. So I went today with my mom and my sister, and first I visited my grandma's grave, and it was very moving. It was very beautiful too. I felt them. I felt their presence. I told them, we're doing well. I have a little boy and he's charming. I was kind of talking to them like I'm talking to my grandparents. And then I went to my grandfather's tombstone and it was broken. It was broken. My mom was there 6 months ago and it was fine. And this time it was broken. And it's almost like he sent a message from the other side of like, come and fix my tombstone.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. Yeah. You know, in reality, the body of our loved ones, that's not who we are. This body, it's the spirit. It's who we are. You know, that's what continues. It's just like water. If you put it in the middle of the room, it evaporates. It changes form, but it's still there. So the energy of who we are continues. That body no longer exists in your loved ones. They're in a grave. And it's a wonderful experience to go to the grave and speak to them. But in reality, they're with you, hearing you rather than in the ground. So that's very important. And I hope I say this right because I may not say it in the right word, but my son is studying the Kabbalah as well. And Seri Itzira, am I saying it?
Sefer HaYetzirah is the book of creation.
That's all about this kind of thing. And he's trying to get me to study it as well. Maybe you could tell me more about that because it has a lot to do with the angels.
Oh, man. Kabbalah goes deep. Kabbalah goes deep into... When I learn Kabbalah, it's more... I don't go that deep. I go into the level of how to become a better person and how to evolve myself as a human being and how to be kinder to myself and to others and those type of spiritual lessons. But when the people who are really high level in Kabbalah, they can do magic. They can connect to spirits. They can do a lot of things that are not of this realm.
Yes. And my son is all excited about it. He's studying Hebrew and he was brought up Christian. Now we don't, basically it's connecting all religions. It's all one, spirituality. That's what we feel, we know. But yeah, he's trying to help. So maybe that's why we're connected. I don't believe in coincidences. Maybe for whatever reason we were supposed to connect today, maybe because you said hello to your loved ones today and they're just saying hi back.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, and when I was near the tomb of my grandma, I wanted to take a photo of it. I took a photo of it. I opened my phone and it was 1111.
Ah, there you go.
Angel number 1111, which is when I looked it up, it said, this is a message from your deceased loved ones.
Absolutely. Yes.
Goosebumps again.
I call that a without a doubt sign. I call this a sign from your loved ones because you were just doing that and somehow we connected instead of your husband. I know it sounds silly, but there are no coincidences. There's all synchronistic events that happen in our lives.
What is synchronicity?
Synchronicity means it's supposed to happen. There's no coincidence that these it seems like they're unrelated events just happen that bring us to certain people or a specific street, or you turn on a specific TV show for whatever reasons, because you're supposed to hear the message at that time.
Yeah, it happened to me. I was watching something on Netflix and they just said something, oh, wow, this is something lavender. And as they said it on my screen was a WhatsApp message of somebody else saying, go visit Lavender Cosmetics. Oh. So I got the same lavender message in the same exact time, which was super odd. So how can I get more tuned into, like, what are the messages? How can I recognize them? Okay, I understand 111, 555, those numbers.
They're trying to get your attention. They're trying to say, hey, we're here. Pay attention to us. And the best thing you're doing it right now. You're trying to become, a better person, raising your vibration to a more higher level. When you're raising your vibration to a more on par with them, because they're true love and only peace and love. And what you're doing now, you're raising your vibration, trying to become a better person, you said, with the Kabbalah and so forth. So you're doing that. And once you're more on the same vibration with what they are, you'll be receiving these messages yourself. You are. They're saying right now, pay attention, the 111. Now you say, what does that mean? To me, it just means they're with you. Mm-hmm. They're with you, trying to say hello.
What are the different types of messages? There are numbers, there are synchronicities like that, where I see something on the screen and I hear it on an audio at the same time from two different sources. What are different types of signs that you've experienced or you can share with me?
Oh, there's so many. There's One wonderful sign is they love to come through as an animal, a bird, a ladybug, a butterfly, a dragonfly, to let us know they're with us. But the animal would do something that it normally would not do, like land on you or peck at your window, encircle you, or something like that. It would be saying, pay attention. You know it's not a normal circumstance. Another thing, they like to play songs at the perfect time. You know, you need, right? Did you get that? Any
I
of those?
think I have, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With a song that you need to hear, with the words you need to hear at that time, or maybe your loved one's favorite song, or so forth. They like to come through in dreams to let us know they're with us. You know, it would be very uplifting. It would never be negative. It would only be positive. And you wake up with an incredible peace. They like to give off fragrances. You'll be in nowhere and you'll smell maybe their perfume or a flower or something like that for no reason. That's their way of saying they're with you. They love to play with electricity. The lights go on and off for no reason when you're talking about them, or what happened with you with the lavender. You know, it just happens.
Mm-hmm.
Rainbows appear. I mean, I could go on and on. They come through as thoughts that just pop in your head for no reason, something that just, oh, where did that come from? You'll hear, you know, a specific message, or they place objects in your path, such as feathers or rocks or coins. And you'll notice what's happening. I just keep getting this over and over. Have you had any of those signs?
Just the 111.
Maybe the song you said.
The songs, yeah, I think I've heard songs in perfect timing. I wasn't paying attention there because I wasn't in the awareness of, oh, that can be a deceased loved one. So I was like, oh, maybe it's my guardian angel. How do you know if you're talking to an angel or a deceased loved one?
Well, an angel is higher vibration. It's more loving. It's more peaceful. Whereas when our deceased loved ones come through, they come with the personality that they had when they were here in the physical body. Mm. So, for example, if your loved one was quiet, they're very quiet. It's hard to receive messages from them. But if they're loud, oh, they'll make it known that they're with you and so forth. But the angel is always a loving, positive number. And yes, the 1111 sounds like an angel number.
Mm-hmm.
That they're trying to say they're with you.
And doesn't it disturb them that we want to communicate with them?
No, because they're coming to us. Then we're not asking. In other words, if you would like a sign from your loved one or the angels, you know, we can ask them to give us a sign to let us know they're with us. But look what happened to you. The 1111 just happened. The songs just occur. You know, the dreams just occur. They're trying to get your attention to let you know that they're with you.
You mentioned keeping in a high vibration, and I'm doing my best to keep in high vibration. And sometimes I get too much, like I put my focus on what's going on around me. And right now in the world, it's like we're in the middle of a storm with everything that is going on with COVID-19 and vaccines and closing borders, opening borders, and freedom of speech. And in the US, there were the First Amendment. The Second Amendment is going to be, you know, they want to even take people's right to bear guns, which is the Second Amendment. So like everything is going upside down, inside out, lots of turbulence. And even in my own private life, just the move to Florida is pretty crazy. And sometimes it's hard for me to keep a high vibration. Sometimes I don't sleep at night because of my baby or because I'm worried and I can't fall asleep. And when I'm sleepless, like keeping on a high vibration is so hard. And then I feel guilty that I'm not on a high vibration and I'm not as kind and nice as I want to be. And it's just, so what are some tools that you use to center yourself, and how do you resolve with yourself times where you are not in a very high vibration, or are you always in a very high vibration? I don't know.
In order to connect with the angels and deceased loved ones, I do have to keep my vibration high, and it's easier said than done all the time to do that. But the most important thing to do is to focus on solutions rather than problems. You know, no matter what's going on in the world, there are solutions, and we need to be part of the solution rather than the negativity. So we need to plug into what's right rather than what's wrong. We have to practice forgiveness. That's extremely important, because when we don't forgive someone for what they did to us, It's the saying that Wayne Dyer used to say all the time. It's not the snake bite that kills us. It's the venom that's left behind. So when we forgive somebody, we help ourselves. We're not letting the other one off the hook. We are just raising to a higher level of consciousness. Another thing we could do is try to see through the eyes of each other, to the eyes of other people. We may not understand what they're doing, but if we could see through their eyes, trying to see why they do what they do, it will certainly help, you know? We can monitor our inner dialogue. So when we can't monitor everything that we're thinking about, because that would be impossible. But if we're feeling in a bad way, if we're feeling angry or upset or sad, chances are we're thinking negative thoughts. So we'd have to, try to shift your thoughts to a more positive level, if that makes sense. I'll give you an example. Several years ago, I was going through a divorce. And in order to connect with the angels on a consistent basis, I had to keep my vibration high. And how do I do that? How do you do that when you're going through a negative experience? So what did it for me is I looked on YouTube, or I Googled puppies running around, or kittens running around, or babies laughing. And that immediately brought me to a higher vibration. So what I did was I didn't focus on the divorce. I changed the subject, so when I did that, I felt so much better, and I was able to continue to connect with the angels and the deceased loved ones because I was more on par with their energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did that when I went through a very terrible breakup. I did that. I used to go and watch funny YouTube videos. It was one of my, one of the many ways that I healed. I also trained my body, and I did yoga, and I danced, and I did martial arts, and I meditated.
Yes.
But I found myself a couple of days ago lying in bed, and whatever I tried to do to stop my thinking mind didn't work.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, do some breathing. No, doesn't work. Okay, get up, get some cold water. No, didn't work. And nothing that I did helped. And eventually I was so tired. I laid there and I gave up, and I finally fell asleep at 5 a.m. So when you have this crazy, I was worried about somebody in my family too. It was not all, it was not all to move. It was somebody else that I was worried about. So what do you do? Like, I don't think that a YouTube video would help me because I'm hard to crack. Like I need something strong. Maybe I should have had a shot of whiskey. Just kidding.
Well, what I do when my clients come to me, and they're I also practice alternative healing when they come to see me, and they can't get past anger or grief or worry or something. There's a technique called tapping. Have you ever heard of it? Or emotional freedom technique?
Yeah.
That is amazing. It's like a miracle. It really looks crazy when you do it because you're tapping on acupuncture points. But the reason why it really does work is because negative emotions are stored in various acupuncture points. And when you bring up the emotion and you tap on those points, it moves the energy out. I have had people come to see me that they said they've been in 20 years of therapy, but the one session of tapping did it what 20 years of therapy didn't even come close to. And the reason is because we're energy. And if we move the energy of the negativity, that's what works. So what would work for you, after we hang up, I'll give you a website, an email. Nick Ortner does tapping, and he has one tapping video for anxiety that works wonders. Oh my goodness.
Oh, cool. I'll put it in the show notes because I'm sure so many of us experience anxiety for whatever reason, we're human beings. So yeah, that's wonderful. And what's weird is that I studied so many healing modalities. I know about tapping. I know about this and that and that and that. I teach when I coach, I do hypnosis and I do NLP and all that. And when it comes to taking care of myself in the middle of the night, it's almost like I forget about everything.
Oh, that's normal though. We all do that. So, don't beat yourself up. That's very normal. There's another technique called releasing the venom by Donna Eden.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
You could Google that, and by Donna Eden, and you just swing your arms up. It's hard to explain with just the voice, and then you swing your arms down to the ground and you blow it out 3 times. So, I do this when I am in a negative place or something negative's happening around me. I do that. I do the tapping, but the only way the tapping works, and I've been doing this with clients, is if you bring up the emotion as you're tapping. So you can't just tap and say, oh, I am so upset. I cannot take it. No. You have to really mean it. You have to experience the emotion. As you're experiencing the emotion is when it works. So when you can't sleep at night, that's a wonderful time to get up and go to the bathroom and start doing the tapping, because that's when the energy is right at those acupuncture points. And when you tap on those acupuncture points as you're experiencing that emotion, that's when it works.
Yeah.
So I tell people, if you don't experience the emotion, don't do it, because it doesn't work.
Yeah. So many of us are trying to avoid our emotions and just go past our emotions, but they just come back through the back door. We have to, the only way to the other side is through. You got to experience your emotion and work with your emotions. We try to shush our emotions with a piece of chocolate or a distraction, or go on Facebook or watch a movie, whatever we do to distract ourselves. But the only way to deal with our emotions is to allow ourselves to feel them completely and then let them go.
Exactly. Or else you pretend everything's okay, but it's not. You're trying, before I was saying just change the subject, look at something positive, babies laughing and so forth. But that only happens if you're just in a little bit of a bad place. But if you're really experiencing something negative going on in your life, that's when the tapping works. That's when the releasing the venom works and so forth. You need to do something. You have to experience that, because the emotion's there. Can't say it's not, right? So you're really worried about something. You have to deal with emotion. Absolutely.
I've been going to a bazillion workshops in my life. I did everything Tony Robbins and oh my God, so many modalities and so many workshops and so many things, landmark education and this and that and that and this and that. And I find myself doing a lot of one-on-one deep work, like really deep work lately, working on my childhood traumas, or I don't know, maybe past life traumas, I don't know, and healing that. And I started doing rebirthing sessions. Do you know of it?
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more. I just barely know about it, but I know it. Wonderful results.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So I'm with my coach, and I lay on first we have a coaching session, and he's brilliant. And then we think about, like, something comes up, like something that I want to work on. And he does also, I don't know if this is a part of a normal rebirthing session, but he also does acupressure points. So I'm laying there and I'm breathing heavily, like for 45 minutes.
Wow.
While he's doing those. He doesn't do those acupressures all the time. Like, throughout the session, he will do them. And then he will also talk to me. And I found myself crying and laughing and having visions and memories from when I was a week old.
Goodness. Wow.
It's wild. It's wild. And I feel that this whole external thing that is going on, and this pressure is to have us work more on ourselves and get into what we really need and what we really need to heal.
Exactly. And you know what sounds fascinating about that, what you were going through, he also touches the acupressure points. That's kind of like tapping.
Mm-hmm.
So you're bringing up emotions. He's pressing on the acupressure points. That's very similar. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Oh, I want to go back to all the magic that you're doing. And can you take me and our audience through just a little bit on how can we connect to our angels or deceased loved ones?
Okay. So the first thing that we need, there's 2 things that are extremely important to do. Number 1 is to understand that when they come through to us, most people expect to hear a voice or to see an apparition of what they looked like, but in reality, they're spirit. So they'll speak to us telepathically as thoughts. And if our thoughts are going a mile a minute, which most people, we're always thinking, we won't be able to hear their thoughts. So we need to meditate daily. And that's not just to connect with angels and deceased loved ones, but meditation is extremely important for all of us just to connect to source energy. That's just as important as eating and sleeping and drinking water. So I would say to pray and meditate daily. Praying is talking to God, but meditating is listening.
Can you repeat that? Can you say that again?
Yeah. Praying is talking to God, but meditating is listening.
Wow.
And in any relationship, we need to listen as well as to speak. Anybody. I mean, if you have friends or family members, we just talked all the time. That's not good. We need to listen to them. And the same it is with God. We need to meditate to quiet our thoughts. And, I make it a point. I'm not telling everybody to do this, but I get up very early every morning to meditate. It's essential. It really is, just to feel more peaceful and so forth. And not every time are you going to be able to empty your thoughts. Believe me, we're programmed to think. And our brains are thinking a mile a minute, but just set the intention of meditating every day. It really makes a world of difference.
To connect to angels, you need to meditate. Is there a certain type of meditation that you do or a certain way to call them?
Not everybody could quiet their thoughts. So I would tell each person is different, whatever they feel best doing. Some people like to listen to a guided meditation. Some people like to stare at a candle until you can't keep your eyes open anymore. And then you close your eyes and you'll actually see the flame in your eyelids. And you stare at that. Or you just focus on your breath. Or you repeat a mantra over and over. I do something different every single day. But whatever feels good to each individual person, I would recommend doing that. And so maybe one day you feel like focus on your breath. And another day you just feel like doing a guided meditation. That's good. That's very good. Now, this is the most important thing, too, is during meditation, you don't want to connect with the angels and deceased loved ones. Because meditation is trying to quiet your thoughts. You don't want to intend to do anything. Meditation, I do in the morning so that I could connect later on in the day to angels and deceased loved ones. It's just like when you get gas for your car, you put gas in the car to drive later on. It's the same with meditation. You meditate so that you could connect later on in the day. And you're raising your vibration higher to their level so that you could be more on par with the energy of who they are and you'll be able to hear them.
So how do we drive to their highway, pun intended?
Yeah, I like that. So we have to vibrate higher to have more compassion. We want to spend more time in nature. In the morning, you could ask to become a vehicle of love and service. In the morning, say, how may I serve? Because when you say, how may I serve, the universe works in ways to serve you.
And do you see them? Do you hear them? What is your experience?
When I connect with angels and deceased loved ones, it comes telepathically for the most part. It comes as thoughts that just pop in my head for no reason. Things that I would never know would just pop in my head. Or they give us signs. They give me signs. Driving here to work today. Now, my birthday is 4/7, April 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And my maiden name was Lazzarini, L-A-Z. So the license plate, a car cut me off. And it said K47 L-A-Z. So that was, wow. You couldn't get even more on, that was my name, my maiden name, and my birthday all at once. Car cuts me off. So instead of getting angry, I look at the license and I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you for saying hello.
Wow.
Just become more aware of the signs around you. Like you had the 1111. You knew it was a message.
Yes, I did. Oh my God, it was awesome.
Yeah. And the more you pay attention to the signs, the more they will give you. And it may not be a particular message they're giving you. It's just saying, we're with you. You're not alone. Everything's going to be okay. It could just be that. As a matter of fact, it probably is that.
Can you share some stories of things that you got in communication with some of your clients, of course, not mentioning names,
Sure.
that you were surprised?
I have many, and I'll share a couple of my favorite ones. There was one woman, she wanted to come in to see me, and this is I have 4 books out, and this is one of my books, so I can share it. I know she says it's okay. Her name was Teresa, and she wanted to connect with her father who passed, but I'm booked for 2 years ahead of time, and I'm not taking new clients. So I said, you know what, Teresa, why don't you come to a class that I'm teaching? And I was going to be teaching that class, I think it was a week later, on how to connect with angels and deceased loved ones. So she came to that. And in the middle of the class, I started receiving messages from her dad. But she said, okay, I said, there's someone named Tom, he's saying he's okay. But I said, Teresa, he's saying that the missing money is in the attic, in the corner of the room under the pink insulation.
Oh, wow.
And she just gasped. And she said, we're looking for money that he left. He hid somewhere in the house, and we didn't know where he hid it. So she said, when I go home, I certainly will look there. So I said, okay.
I bet she went home and the first thing she did was she just dropped her suitcases and ran upstairs to look beyond underneath that.
So she went home and she went up to the attic, pulled down the insulation in the corner of the room, and sure enough, there was a substantial amount of money there that her dad left there. Now, there's no way I would have known that, and she didn't even know that, so I couldn't be reading minds. The only person that knew that was her dad. So to me, that confirmed that her dad truly was giving her what I call a without a doubt message from him.
Yeah, no doubt about money.
Yeah. You want me to tell you another one? I have a lot of.
Yes, please, yes.
Another one of my favorite stories, her name is Christy, and she came to see me when I just began doing messages from deceased loved ones. So she came, and when she first came to see me, I saw in spirit world 4 babies who passed, who were all the same age.
Oh.
And she said, yes, she lost quadruplets. But, I said, they're with your grandma coming through, your grandma's coming through. Her name is Teresa. It's not the same Teresa from the other story, by the way. So that was the message, but this is not what was incredible. After that reading, she knew without a doubt her grandma was with her little babies, but she was trying to get pregnant and she couldn't get pregnant. So it was maybe 6 months later, I'm sitting in my office, I'm meditating, and her grandmother came through to me and said that Christy was pregnant. So I called Christy and she said, I don't know. I told her, I said, your grandma's here saying that you're pregnant. She said, I don't know. I don't even know. I said, well, take a pregnancy test because your grandma's coming through saying that you are indeed in the family way. And we hung up the phone. I drove my car. I went to lunch and a car cut me off and the license plate said 2 quads.
No way.
I mean it. Yes. I was going to say, I swear to God. And so I took it to mean 2 of the quadruplets were coming back to her. So I called her back and I told her the message. And sure enough, the next day she said she was pregnant. And 9 months later, she gave birth to twins. So 2 of the quadruplets came back.
Oh my God.
Yes. This is the type of message that I get, that there's no way.
I'll have to wait 2 years to talk to you?
Well, I'm not taking any new clients anymore. I'm just writing books and doing classes and so forth.
Yeah.
My purpose is to empower you to do what you can do because I can give you the messages, but better yet, I could teach you how to do that because if you know how to do this, it can be anytime. Just like when they're trying to come through with the 1111, you know right away, that's your angel saying they're with you. This is the most incredible thing. Mm-hmm. You can do what I do.
I still doubt that.
Don't doubt yourself. Say, I can and I will. When you doubt yourself, you won't be able to do it.
Right.
Because your thoughts create your reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I can and I will. And maybe I'm a little bit scared of it, but I can and I will.
Right. And they would never want to hurt you. Never. It's only love.
What's the difference between communicating to angels to opening your Akashic records?
Well, the Akashic records is everything you've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And the angels, in reality, this is hard to explain. Past, present, and future is all now.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to understand until you leave the physical body, and you'll know that in an instant. But the angels are able to pick up on all of that as if it is now, because it is the past, the future, the present.
The angels and the record keepers as well. And what's the difference between those two?
There's really no difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about reincarnation? Do you know about your reincarnations?
Yes. So number one, we decide whether or not we want to come back or not. So it's not that we're forced to do it or not. How do you explain when someone is a babe or a child, like 2 years old, 3 years old, and they play the piano, they master it? How do you explain that? I have some examples of some of my clients I could share, and I could tell you myself as well. But one of my clients, she said her son, he had some kind of operation. I'm not sure what it was, tonsillectomy or something, whatever it is. And as the son was coming back after the anesthesia, the nurses were with him and he started to speak German.
My God. How old is he? 3, 2?
Yes, he was young, 3, 4.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the age was. So when the nurses came back to the mom, my client, they said, "That's wonderful that you speak German." And she says, "No, I don't." No, I don't. Now, how do you explain that? How do you explain that? Really? Other than you were German in another life, or perhaps somebody's coming through to you speaking German and you're saying that. So there's so much to this life, more than we can see and feel, It's the energy of who we are continues after the physical body dies. That's something I know without a doubt. And my wish is for everyone to know that as well.
Mm-hmm. I visited Egypt 2.5, 3 years ago. We went to Egypt. We went to the Valley of the Kings and visited it was extraordinary, and visited many, many beautiful temples. And one temple that is pretty remote is the Temple of Dandra. And she's the cow goddess. She's the goddess of song and dance. And the whole group was visiting the lower part of the temple. And I was just walking by myself, and I just felt the energy there. I felt at home. I felt great. I felt elated in that temple, which other temples I felt either nothing or they were kind of like, okay, temples, whatever. I did feel something in a tomb we were, but that was a little weird, kind of like weird energy. But at Dandra, I just felt so good. Like there was something there. And I had my Akashic record. Actually, I think it's in one of my podcasts. It's about Akashic records. And she opened the records while we were on the call. And she told me that I was a priestess in the temple of Hathor, and she saw me standing there in a circle, and she saw the stones from above. They were like a big circle stone, and it was moving. All the writings were super colorful, and so she saw that I was there. And I always felt a deep connection to Egypt, even when I was, I don't know how old was I, 20, and I went to Sinai. It was really, I always felt such deep connection to Egypt.
That's amazing. I hope you go back, because that's your calling. Do you think you'll ever go back?
To Egypt? No, I don't think so. The physical realm of Egypt was not that pleasant for me.
This is past life. That's why you felt that connection. So there's no need to go now, right?
Yes. And then I was also told in a different reading that I was a witch. They burned me or something like that. I don't know, how do you say it? You get burned on the stake? Do I say it correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you're afraid of connecting with the deceased loved ones and the angels. Maybe that's part of you. You're afraid of that.
I'm not afraid of angels. I'm afraid of deceased loved ones.
Okay. First of all, you don't have to connect with deceased loved ones. The angels are a higher vibrating energy.
Mm-hmm.
Only love and peace. So
maybe it's all the ghost films that I was watching, because ghosts always they're so scary in films.
Fine. That's not real though. No, nothing I have ever experienced was frightening. And I've been doing this a long time, but they're not welcome. Negativity. Oh no.
Wow, that's amazing. So before we say goodbye for now, I just want to ask you, what are your 3 top tips to live in a stellar life? And then where can people find you and connect with you and get your seminars and learn more from you and get your books?
Okay. All right. That's a good question about what's the 3. Number 1, I'll say it very quickly. After we leave the physical body, we go through a life review where we're able to see and feel how we've affected each person through their eyes. So I tell people, why do you have to wait till it's too late to do that? To try to see through the eyes of each person that you meet right now, and you could create peace in your life right here and now. That's number 1.
Can I ask you a question about number 1?
Yes. Yeah.
What if you can see the world through another person's point of view? What if it's a challenge?
That's such a good question, actually, because I could tell you a couple of stories, but it would take too long. But you may not understand why they do what they did, but you could kind of understand, well, how do I say this in a nice way, right? You don't want to ever do what they did. You would never do it. But because of their upbringing, because of what they're going through, you could kind of see through their eyes and have a little bit of compassion for them, if that makes sense. And you don't have to be in their lives, by the way, if they're hurting you. I would never say that. Mm-hmm. I would say just connect from them, because that's toxic energy. But send them love and peace, because whatever you give to someone else comes back to you. That's what I would say.
I like what you said about compassion. I resonate with that. Because sometimes when you're like, you see the hurt little child beyond whatever the deed that the adult did, you can have compassion. And maybe I can say that I can always see why people do bad things when it's really bad or really hurtful, but we could always come to a point of compassion, I guess.
Yes. Well, to understand that God is within every one of us, every single person, even if they're doing something bad, that person just doesn't remember who they are.
Yeah, compassion for the lost soul.
Exactly. Beautifully said. Yes.
What's number 2?
I would say be grateful for everything in your life. Focus on what is going well rather than what's going wrong. Just the fact that you woke up this morning and you slept hopefully in a bed and you had hot water or whatever it is. The more you're grateful for things in your life, the more things will come into your life for which to be grateful. That would be number 2. And number 3, I would say, is to try to focus. That's kind of the same thing, on what you want rather than what you don't want. Do you know what I mean? Focus on, instead of focusing, I don't want this, I don't want that, because your thoughts create your reality. Focus on what you want instead. So you want peace and love? Focus on peace and love in your life instead of what's wrong in the world. Solutions rather than the problems.
Yes. Beautifully said. Where can people find you and connect with you and everything that you teach? Okay.
You could find me on my website at my name, KarenNoé.com. That's KarenNoe.com. And you'll see all my books. I've written 4 books. You could also follow me on Facebook on Karen Noé Author, or on my personal page. It's long. It's Karen Lazzarini Noé. It's Karen, Lazzarini, and then Noé, Noe. That's a long one. I know.
Well, Karen Noé, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I really appreciate everything that you shared with us today.
Thank you so much for having me on, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. And thank you, listeners. Remember to see things through other people's eyes and have compassion for them. Be grateful and focus on what you want and have a stellar life. This is Orion. Till next time.
Thank you for joining me on my mission to light people up and change lives around the world. I hope today's conversation inspires you to step up, go after the life of your dreams, and be who you want to be. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go to stellarlifepodcast.com for show notes, transcripts, and other cool stuff. And please subscribe, review, and help spread the word by sharing us on Facebook and Twitter. Have a lovely day, and I'll catch you on the next episode.